Glasses or something.
Well,
No, it's our new.
Total health insurance?
Start
yeah,
with-
yeah.
We're live.
All right, we're live. Good evening, all. Welcome to the town board meeting, agenda meeting, June 18, 2024. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Morton,
Here.
Councilwoman McMahon,
Here.
Councilman Niles.
Here.
Supervisor Molino.
Here. Okay, the first little bit of action that we're gonna have, because 2 weeks ago when we brought up about doing some tree cutting, there was a lot of questions. So this is Chris Gearwar. He's our forester. He's been our forester for nearly 20 years, as long as I've been here. And he does a great job. And that report you got about 2 weeks ago of what every year, what Chris, he goes out and marks the trees that has to be cut in certain areas. And these guys come in and cut them all down. And that's how he makes his money, and that's how we make money. And that money was always well spent, like some of it went to this building, other things, keep the budget down. And now what he's gonna explain is that we gotta do I'll call it a cleanup in certain areas. And normally we put it out to bid, but this is, I'll let you explain it, but I'll try to, this is a thing that you can't put out for bid because the big guys won't come in. They wanna go and clear, cut 20 acres, 10 acres. This will be, go to one spot, take 2 or 3 trees out to let some of the undergrowth start growing, go over here and take 2 more, and go over there and take 5. So it'll be tough to bid it out. So whoever comes in, I think you estimated 75,000 to 100, we might get by picking and choosing. So we can't really bid it out because not a lot of these big guys don't want to do that, but the smaller guys will. Is that my understanding? You just want to come to this table and go ahead and give us your, and this will probably be the end of the tree for about another 2 or 3 years at least. It becomes cuttable in some of our property.
It's been a long time. I started this project in 2000. And it's been ongoing ever since. We have harvested probably half a dozen times. Generally, this property had trees that were at the end of their growth cycle. Just because nothing had ever been done prior to me coming on board. I would say the last time anybody had been in there was probably 15 or 20 years prior to that. And again, they were all large, mature timber. And at the time, I spoke with Larry, of course, quite a bit about this. And we had the choice of going through and doing the whole thing in one shot or spreading it out. And it paid off spreading it out because the trees grow between the time you thin them out and when you get back in there. So it was a very lucrative adventure for the town. We're at the point now, the last 2 harvests that I have done, or supervised, I should say, were what we call shelterwood cuts. And what those are is you remove the understory of the smaller trees and most of the big trees, because again, they're old and they're on their way out, but you leave trees here and there, what we call seed trees. And these trees seed the forest floor so that your next forest is started. That has been done. And essentially, the forest is a bank account. The trees are the principal that you're working with, and they grow each year. So that's your interest. So it's basically that simple comparison. If you go in and take all of your big trees out, then your principal is gone. So it takes time for it to grow back up to where you are making an interest and replenishing the interest. And it's not something that you can carry on forever. Even what we call even age management, where you cut the trees with the idea of leaving an all age forest, all size trees to keep growing, even that system at some point has to start over. And that is what has been done. So that's where we are at this point. And the trees that are left, there are scattered trees, still left, groups of trees. There's plenty of regeneration, as a result of the last thing, which was in, 2017 and 2018. So that, again, is in place. And how you handle it is basically up to the board. Does it need to be cut? Not really, but the point is, the money is there, and it's a question of where is the money best spent? And again, that's your decision, not mine. I will do whatever works out for you people. And what happens is, when you take timber out, it takes longer for it to come back if you cut it heavily. And that's probably what we would be doing in this case, taking most of the trees out. The forestry side of that is your seedlings are already in place and we have to release them. So it's, again, it's up to you people what you want to do. The money is there, can certainly get it out for you. So I will stop talking and answer questions because I'm interested in what is important to you.
When you say release them, what does that mean?
It just means if they're growing in the shade, they don't grow well. That's all. It's that simple. It's kind of basic, but it is complicated.
Yeah.
Forestry, like a lot of things, is its own language. Until you understand the language, it's hard to understand.
Somebody told me that you would handle all the paperwork and all that stuff.
Yes, in this particular case, as your supervisor said, it's not a situation where I can go in and mark the trees and bid it out and say, okay, guys, go in there and cut those trees, because they're scattered all over the place. It's a very difficult job to do, that time-consuming job. And I think the way to work this is just do a diameter limit cut. Trees larger than a certain size will cut out. And that will release the understory. And again, you're basically starting over, but this forest started over 100 years ago. I mean, that's how it started, and all those trees grew up and got bigger. And we happened to come into it at that time when they were all big, but instead of cutting them all at the same time, we spread it out.
How do you select the company or whatever that's gonna come in and cut? And before you answer, I would wonder if our town attorney could tell me a little bit about what you think would be required to bid or not bid or whatever. This is kind of reverse.
Yeah, we just went through this with another town, and we told them they had to go out for sealed bids.
Same. Magnitude.
Yes.
So that answers your question.
Yeah.
And
You can handle that for us.
yes, if we got to bid it out, we'll bid it out.
So in your opinion, for the best of the town, is now the time you want to be doing this? Or is it a different time better than now?
Again, it's complicated, again, by the history and the size of the trees and all that business. And whichever way you go, the bottom line is you're looking at it for a source of income. And I think that's how you have to look at it. Is the money more important leaving it in the woods and those trees? Or is it better spent to get it out and put it some other place? From a forestry standpoint, as I say, it could go either way. You could make an argument either way. Look, we've already got all the seedlings are there. So let's remove the overstory and let it start over. If you don't, and you leave the trees there that we would be cutting, you would be cutting again in 15 or 20 years. If we go through and with this harvest, then you're looking at 30, maybe 40 years.
Okay, so you're talking to a banker. Okay, now, my opinion is gonna be one set. You're a forest person. Is it? What's your opinion as a forest preserve,
Looking at strictly as a forest,
as the forest?
to be honest with you, I wouldn't,
Okay,
I would not. But that's
but on
not
the banker side, you would. So
Pardon?
you're
Yes.
six
Again,
and one, half
it's-
dozen of the other.
It's reality is that there's money there. And it's just what is more important to the board. If we don't get the money from here, we've got to get it some other place. And that's another language which I'm not familiar with and don't want to be. But, you know, you're always looking for a source of income. And this is a source of income for now. It's that simple.
Okay, but for right now, if that source of income is X amount of dollars, and 5 years from now, is that source of income gonna be a lot more or less?
Generally, the Forest Service estimates growth at 4% compounded interest, the actual
Okay.
growth of the tree. And as far as value is concerned, that may be about the same, but it's relative to the size of the trees. So when we got into this in the beginning, the trees were big. So when you were putting growth on a large tree that was already valuable, then your interest rate can be 10 to 15% on an
Okay.
individual tree.
So what interest rate will we be at in a couple of years from now?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What interest rate would we be at?
Oh, you can't, there's no
You
way to
can't.
predict that.
Okay.
But again, when the trees are smaller, they're growing at a slower interest rate. They're growing faster from the wood standpoint, from fiber being produced. They're growing fast. But they're not growing at a very big interest rate because they're small. And a lot of your trees in there are, say, this size. 12, 14, 16 inches, and again, I've left larger trees in certain areas where I could as a seed source. And a lot of times, you unfortunately have to sacrifice your seed trees just because if we go in there and take those big trees out, we're gonna destroy everything that's on it.
Right.
And the same thing will happen this time, except that the seedlings are small and they survive a lot better when they're smaller, particularly if you do the job in the winter time. We don't have a winter anymore, but usually have a snowpack and that, you know, protects the
Right.
seedlings. So like I say, it's a complicated issue.
Mhm.
What does commercial owning cost right now? What percentage? It's gotta be what, 6, 7%, do you know? Okay.
What was your question?
Bank loan for commercial right now, what percent?
Right around 7.
Is it?
Yeah.
So we're trying to evaluate two options and both of them are moving targets.
Yeah,
To me, it kind of boils down to, do we want to take the X number of dollars out now?
yep. I understand.
Because I think it's hard to evaluate.
Right, so with those, if we took them out, the seedlings that are in there now, you're saying will be a bigger seedling. They'll grow much bigger
No,
versus waiting?
They're thinned out pretty good at this point in time. So taking trees out right now isn't going to increase growth rate because they're all basically open grown.
Yeah,
I'll
okay,
give you a classic example. I did some work for a family over in Northville. Well, actually, yeah, it was 20 years ago now, but they were looking at the same thing. And said, well, and they had bigger trees. They said, if we cut our trees now, you know, is it a good idea? What is, in this particular case, they had mostly sugar maple. Sugar maple was worth $600 1,000 board feet. That's how we measure trees, by the 1,000 board feet. And so when we cut it, it was $600 1,000. So 18 years later, guess what the rate was that I sold it for?
What?
$600. You're a banker. Did you make any money? So you see, it's a
Yeah.
complicated issue because of markets too,
Right.
because they, for some reason, it just worked out that way. Maple was very high 18 years ago. And they cut it and timber markets fluctuate just like anything else. So, and one of the guys, the father of one of the owners was a banker. And he said, cut them. We're gonna take the money and put it somewhere where it makes better money for us. So that's, that's how they looked at it. But it doesn't mean, that applies in your situation. You guys know that better than I do.
What are the CDs paying?
Right now, I would say we're down to about 3.5, 3 3/4. They were up over 5 about 6 months ago. But now I just, not about 3.5. We got a lot of CDs. We did it at the right time. We got a lot of them at 5. But now renewing them, it's down to 3 or something.
And I will offer this. Trees take a lifetime to grow. So making a rush decision is not necessary.
Yeah.
If you need to think about that, by all means do so. I'm just here to help you. I want to do the right thing for you guys.
How volatile is the market for that timber?
It's been soft.
Steady,
4 or 5
steady, soft?
For 3 months. It has been improving. With your timber is mostly hardwood. And
That's a bad.
hardwood, generally, the best markets are in the fall and winter because hardwood spoils. Once you cut the tree and you open up to the air, the ends, it will check, it'll split, and bugs get in there. It stains. So it's, like you said, there really isn't a rush on this. It just is what makes sense to you guys. How soon do you need the money? I mean, if you decide to do that, there are companies out there that will say, okay, if there's $75,000 worth of wood there, we'll pay you $50,000 to start. There are companies that can do that. So again, there's a lot of flexibility in the thing, and it's just a question of making the right choice.
From the budget officer standpoint, what's your opinion?
Well, it's hard to say, but as the years go by, we're still under a 2% cap. So it's tough to raise taxes, but everything's going up every day: oil, propane, labor, health insurance. So how much out of that 2% you can't get enough to cover these things? That's why we've been harvesting for years, because you pick up some money to help put in the budget. And that's just the way I always looked at it. But we can hold off a couple of years, 7,500,000, not a major thing, but you never know what comes along.
I kind of have a little bit of a philosophy of bird in the hands.
Don't put off tomorrow what you can do
Yeah.
today. No, I don't know. That's, I'm not trying to convince you, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, I know we're on YouTube, but if maybe we get a new president in November, the economy turn around, a couple of years from now, we could go back to having lower expenses. You don't know.
Right.
I like to be safe, because this past year, and as you all know, we were right on that edge of 2%. Never had it close to 2% in my 18 years. This 19th year was real close. Because money it goes out the door, with everything, mostly labor and mostly health insurance. You gotta get it from someplace, because you can't keep taxing.
Right.
I can also add that if you want to play the markets, which you should, then when markets get better, I will tell you what the situation is. And then, we can proceed. And right now, at this point in time, I don't think it's a good idea, because markets are not that great. They just aren't.
Yeah, I
So-
don't like to gamble on other
Yeah,
people's
I'm
money.
not a gambler on the stock
No.
market. Cause I always go the other way and it should have went, I should have.
Yeah, yeah. You're
Right.
right.
But Andy was the first one that helped us, and I'm gonna tell you, maybe back 19 years ago, when I first took over, Andy was the one working at a bank and gave us the idea of what we did, and the first 3 years, thanks to Andy, we made $100,000 each year.
You know,
Then it went that we weren't even getting 5.
Yeah.
Now it's back that, last year we made 50, don't hold me to penny, 53,000 off our investment. So that's a good little, have a money, almost like cutting trees, it was a good investment. What it's gonna be like the end of this year, going into next year, it's hard to say. So
What's
it's
the,
just a decision we had to make. We can hold off another
Mhm.
2 years, 3 years, but you just never know what happens.
what's the turnaround time if we give you the go ahead? Like if we say, okay, the conditions are right now for.
How
us-
soon will they get everything done and you get all your money?
Yes,
Okay. I would say 6 months to a year. And again, that depends on who gets in there. In a bid situation, the problem is you don't know who you're gonna be working with until, you find out. And of course, you reserve the right to reject any and all bids. You should do that. Just because, it gives you choices. But generally, you go with the high bidder. But what I'm saying is, you may get a higher bid from one guy, but it's gonna take, well, he can't finish the job for 2 years or something like that. So again, it's a decision process. You start at the beginning and work it all the way through until you make the right decision. So,
Mary, how do we handle that? If we have like a higher bidder, but one will front us, say half the money almost
Well, that's what I was
immediately?
just gonna say, in almost every case, the bidders came in. They laid them out on the table, we looked at them all, we went with the higher bidder all the time. And the higher bidder has to give you the check of what he bids. Let's say some of them was 400,000, some was 600,000. They have to give us the check before they even start. So we get that money right now. This way here, because we're gonna be selecting and taking time to cut 7 trees here, 2 over there, 5 over there, the big guys don't want that. They wanna get in and just cut. And so, so the bidder is gonna say, yeah, maybe 75, maybe 100, but I don't think we can ask for that because we're not 100% sure that they're gonna get that much. It's just this is the first time it's a real IFA thing.
yes, it is different because it's piecemeal.
Yeah.
It's
To
not
answer your
set.
question, it's lowest or highest responsible bidder, so if you give a reason for not going with the highest because of time constraints or money up front, as long as you justify your decision, you don't have to go with the highest.
Right, that's a good answer. Because not always the highest bidder does a good job. I mean, we've learned that the hard way sometimes.
Yep.
But we have their money. So we have
And just to
keep going.
clarify, right now you'd said the market's pretty soft
It is for the trees that you have.
that we
yes.
have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, in my business, it's all about averages, because just like people, trees are all different. You can't say,
Mhm.
well, that tree is the representative example, it's not. So, I have some beautiful trees in there left that are worth a lot of money. One tree is worth $200 or $300 to you. But most of them are not that way.
Mhm.
So when you say averages, well, what are you gonna pay for oak, for example? Is gonna be a broad spectrum of trees, but in this case, this time around, they're gonna be smaller than they were the first time. They were all big. So the price, they bid accordingly. Just because of a big tree, you can get a lot more out of it. The boards are wider, you can make it into veneer, that type of thing.
All right, I think we got enough information and I think we've asked good questions and we won't hold you up any longer. And when we bring it up, we'll let you know what the end result is.
All right.
And
Well,
thank you, my
glad-
friend, for
Yes.
staying
glad
with
that I
this
could
town
help.
for all these years.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For telling us the truth.
Always tell the truth.
Yes.
That's it. All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Uh, So we're gonna now reopen the public hearing on the short-term rental. We never closed it, so we're reopening it, so. I don't know, Mary, if you want to discuss anything or. Jim, you,
I'm fine with it. I've looked at the changes. I'm fine with it. I don't have any questions. Is there anybody on Zoom? There's nobody on it.
There's nobody on Zoom right now.
I have no questions.
I don't have any questions.
neither do I. I think
Right.
I think we kicked it around enough.
Motion then that we close the public hearing.
Okay, that's good. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
All right. I'm sorry, Laura, you should have did that, but.
That's okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. So then do they want to do the resolution?
We want to put that on the agenda for next time, the actual resolution, or do we want to try to move with it tonight?
I have it on there as a possible resolution, so it's up to you guys.
I don't see any reason to wait
Yeah.
at this point.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
I don't see any reason to wait at this point.
Andy, you feel the same way?
Yes.
All right, so let's get a motion.
I make a motion that we revise the short-term rental law per the attached draft.
I'll second that.
Got a second. Mary, you have any decision we should or shouldn't? You did all the work, so.
Sure.
All right. So Mary.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Resolution to pay the bills of the 11th abstract as presented, general fund vouchers 3451 to 3484, $19,313.24. Highway fund vouchers 3485 to 3499, $16,474.96. SW1 vouchers 3,500 to 3,503, $11,061.18. SW2 voucher 3,504 for $2,103.48.
I get a motion?
I make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none carried. A resolution to provide occupancy tax funds in the amount of $12,000 to the Chamber of Commerce and have the Chamber of Commerce submit for reimbursement from Warren County to reimburse the town of Lake Luzerne. And I'm not sure if
I'll
it's
explain
worded
what that is,
correctly.
all right? What that is, everybody knows we get occupancy tax, we get certain amounts from the county. The county puts certain amount on the side for extra things that happen in each town, and you could apply for it if you want. I applied for 12,000 for a Chamber of Commerce to run food trucks and all the stuff that goes with it. That has nothing to do with what you guys passed, I forget what it was, 4,000 something, is them to run the chamber. But the problem with this is, they have to spend it before they get it. So what we're doing is giving it to them now. And as soon as they get all their bills together, sometime in September or October, we submit it to the county will send us a check for 12,000. So it's like they're borrowing the money from us to spend it first. That's the rule of the county. So if you get money from the county, you gotta spend it first before they give it to you. So that's why I had to put in the voucher here for 12, which we have it, do it. And as soon as they spend it all at the, over the summer or the 5 or 6 events, then we'll submit it to the county and we'll get a check.
That was already passed. by the
That's
county.
already passed by the county. It was approved to do it 2 months ago.
So this is kind of like step one to get another 12 grand out of the county.
Right, basically.
So it's guaranteed reimbursement.
Guaranteed. It's passed by resolution at the county.
I just have another question, because I know we were talking about the possibility of having the food thing. The music and the food in the park as a joint for the county, I'm sorry, for the town and Chamber of Commerce. And would that interfere with that if we?
No, they should sponsor it. They gotta have a sponsor. We could sponsor it, if they sponsor it. It's a chamber event. So either we gave them 12,000 last year.
Yeah.
So we either give them another 12 out of our money that we have
Mhm.
and let it go, or do it this way and get an
And
extra
get
12
reimbursed.
from the county.
Yeah.
Because there's a set aside fund for any town to ask for more money, like Hurricane asked for 24,000 for their food trucks. But they get about 10 or 12, and they did a lot bigger, and this is their
Mhm.
third year, this is only our second year. I just asked for what we spent last year for this year,
Yeah.
that's all we get.
You know, the chamber hired the bands, paid the band.
And that's what they do with the money.
I have a question. I think this is what Annie was trying to get at, possibly. So when you weren't here last meeting, we discussed the town partnering with the chamber to put on the food truck event, not just sponsoring the chamber, but actually partnering with the chamber to put that event on. How would that affect would we still be eligible to get this money from the county if the town was to move forward?
But we're supporting them, and we're not,
Well, the reason-
we get nothing out of it.
Right, the reason we wanted to partner with them is,
Maybe we should talk about this in executive session.
okay,
Okay, we can have an executive session, so all right, let's move on then.
thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna hold off on that.
Yeah, just until for executive session.
Okay, so we're at other discussion. You wanna take it from there, Gene? Or do you want?
Oh,
me-
you're done,
Other
you're done.
discussion?
Yeah, that's the other page, okay.
I got
Other
some stuff
discussion.
from Bob.
Hmm? Oh, I got it over here. All right, I'm missing something at the bottom. No, this is all in favor for the 12, so we're not, we're moving to here. Other discussion.
Okay.
Yep.
That's on the second page. Okay, well, I'll talk first on the other discussion, because I wasn't here for that meeting and there was a little thing. And I'm just trying to get this solved. The board didn't feel it was right, I think, make sure you tell me I'm wrong. To give the money to some of the gentlemen and the ladies that took those classes on how to keep our lake clean and all the testing they do. They do an awful lot of work. They monitor the lake, they check the water. Even one of them gives their pontoon boat for people to go out and do all this work. So when I heard all that, I'm sorry I wasn't here to explain it to the board. So what I'm trying to say is maybe we should make a contract with the association, and I got it here. My thing is let's make a contract with the association, call it a stipend, 2,000 to 4,000. That comes out of occupancy tax money now, not out of the regular budget, and give it to them. This way they can spend it the way they want to send people to classes or continue, buying the material they need to take the tests and everything else, and it stays away from us. And they do a great job, and we couldn't do it without them. So, that's just my suggestion.
Let me expand just a little
Sure,
bit.
go ahead.
I've asked the association to put together kind of like a little budget to say how much they want and what they're gonna use it for. And that's in the works. In the works. I talked to them last night. And they're putting that list together. I don't have the numbers yet, but I can kind of give you conceptual things. That they're doing a lake monitor. Okay? But we'll probably take close to 1,000 water samples to sell that way. We actually signed up for 3, kind of signed up for 4 different programs. The biggest program, the analysis, packaging and all that is sponsored by the state. They supply the boat and the labor. I doubt that that'll be one of their items, that what they may put in gas or whatever. But they're also working on an educational program. They wanna buy some kits for kids to make little things, stuff like that, so they keep classes going, learning about the lake. And And we're kind of patterning what, Lake George Association does with their floating classroom. They need some money for some of those certificate kids. And balloons, and stickers, get kids to come to those things, so we can create an awareness of how important it is to take care of the lake. And there's a couple of little instruments they might want to buy, $200, a couple of microscopes. One of the most impressive things I saw when I went on the floating classroom in Lake George is he dropped this real fine, like minnow down in the water, a certain depth, you scoop it up, and then you put the water in the microscope. And it's pretty interesting to look at all the animals floating around in there, and then look at a chart and figure out what they are. Then you talk about, you know, how does that relate to stuff. So anyways, they're working on that.
So I don't think, I mean, I guess I can only speak for myself here, but I don't think that we disagree that we want to figure out a way to get the Lake Association some funding for that, but it's just how do we do that legally?
That's kind of,
That's what I'm.
that's kind of what started the conversation.
Yeah.
Is our attorney told us we can't reimburse non-employees.
So
Well,
now,
wouldn't that be maybe a grant to the occupancy tax for the county to ask for that, or
say it again, I'm sorry.
is that something that they can, if they're going to present something to us, can they use something to present to the county for and use occupancy tax?
They can, but can't guarantee they'll get it from them. They can get it from us, because we get 30,000-40,000 from the county to use for this kind of stuff.
Oh, so what you're
Yeah, we use an
referring
our
to is
occupancy.
use the occupancy
Right,
tax. to-
Right, to keep them, because they gotta go to these classes, and I know everybody feels, well, that there's, sometimes they're $90 for the class. So you let them use this money to pay for the classes for people that wanna go, because you gotta train people to do this
Right.
right thing. And we have a great group there. They've been on this for years. The lake is.
Oh,
probably the
absolutely.
best it's ever
No,
been.
I don't think anyone's arguing that point. But can they, you know how we were taking in applications for people asking for occupancy tax that we were giving out to the different,
Right.
I'm thinking that might be the place where they want to submit an application.
Well, that's what I'm saying here. Let them submit some kind of a stipend to an occupancy tax, because it's occupancy tax. And we'll give it to them.
Mary, does this meet
Before I
the,
suggest it, I gotta make sure everybody understands what we're
Okay,
doing.
yeah, because I wasn't understanding that. I was thinking you wanted that from town money,
No, not town money,
but it's coming from
occupancy
occupancy
tax.
tax money.
It's already committed to us from the county.
On the county. I mean, we get $42,000 a year from the county to do the diving, the Priscilla Core, all the things that it takes to
That's a separate.
that's a separate thing, to make the lake.
That's
Pristine.
Mary, does this meet the criteria for occupancy tax?
I think there would be a good argument.
Yeah.
One thing I said to the association last night on the phone is, come budget season, which isn't all that far away, they should be prepared to do this again. Come up with their little Christmas list. So that their occupancy tax budget season, and we have this ahead of.
Cause I look at it this way, you got a clean lake, if that lake starts getting weedy and everything else,
Yeah.
we're gonna use the people that come here for it and stay in hotels and bed and breakfasts and spend money at the businesses in town. So you gotta, that's like our liquid gold there, and we don't wanna lose. We almost did back maybe 8-10 years ago, but we had good people went after it, and we finally, fought with the state enough. We were first town in the whole state of New York to do a chemical. Wasn't for silicone, but it was another chemical. And it was a big battle here. If you were around, we had all these seats filled with people worried, that.
Yeah.
That they didn't like the word chemical scares people, but we were lucky. Nobody was born with 3 eyes and no arms or something like that. So, but this is even a more safer chemical now. But they're still getting battles in Lake George in certain areas that people are afraid of the word chemical.
One of the biggest fears right now with a small lake like this is to start to develop what's called the harmful algae HAB. What that is a green poisonous blob. And those are becoming more and more prevalent around the lakes, especially in the Adirondacks because of climate change.
Okay, I don't want to cut you off, because what you have to say is very important, and I really do want to hear of that. But for the agenda meeting, we need to, can you make that motion that you were talking about? You wanted to put him on the agenda
I'll
for,
put it on the agenda for next.
for an applicant, for him to submit an application to use
Well, 2
occupancy
weeks from
tax.
now. You know, we can make the resolution and
Okay.
pass, it. But I didn't want them to do it if everybody was against it. That's the reason why. I'm
Well,
talking about it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because sitting here, I was taking it different than what you were meaning it. And so that's why I'm glad you did bring it up, that it's occupancy tax, not taxpayers.
No, it's not tax, it's occupancy.
that's
We
totally-
Spend it anyway,
totally
you know,
different.
one way to, you don't wanna waste it, and you don't wanna spend it,
Right,
you know.
okay, so are you making that motion, or are you putting that out there, or do you need a motion to put it on? the
We just
agenda?
need to put a list
I
on the
just-
list of,
You're gonna put it on the
resolutions
list.
that you want.
Right.
Okay.
That's what it's gonna be, a resolution, and we should have that, I'll have them have a,
And we'll have that.
fill up file, and we'll have.
Yeah.
For next meeting.
Okay,
As long as they have it submitted already.
Right,
okay. You good with that?
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's coming from them. You know, what I-
Right,
Have to submit the
they
application
need to
before.
submit
Okay.
the application.
I just didn't wanna go to them, and then they submit it, and then we all say no, so.
Right.
All right, so that covers that, and Jim and I can take care of that. All right, the next thing on this thing, here's another one here. I don't know if everybody knows Chuck. Heating and Cooling, actually, he lives right next door in this parking lot. He's been doing a lot of work for us in the last year and a half for service of air conditioning. I'd like to have him submit the next 2 weeks from now, to a service contract, let's use that phrase. That he takes care of our twice a year, checks our, like, in wintertime checks our heaters, or summertime checks our air conditioners, and then have an on-call in case of emergency, that we can call him and he can come and take care of it. It's getting to a point, these air conditioners and some of the furnaces and stuff have been around, you know, it'll be 15 years in July. We've had, I shouldn't jinx it, but we haven't had much problem, but eventually we're gonna need service on them, and we do every once in a while, just like the computers. So I'm gonna ask him to write that up, but I just wanted to make sure. I mean, I know Mary says, well, you gotta bid it out, but, you know,
Depends
it's,
on the price.
you know, it just, you know,
Have a procurement policy, so you need to follow that.
yeah, so we will, you know,
No,
but,
I
but-
ran an HVAC business for 20 years. I would guess that the service contract on this building would be well below our cutoff point. And also, I'm no longer in the HVAC business, but a good service contract will definitely save you money in the long run.
and we need it, because eventually something's gonna happen, and then you could be going around looking for somebody to fix something, and they don't have a contract or something.
Well, if you've got, say these rooftop units have belt drive fans, you get a belt in there, it's been in there 20 years, that belt breaks, you gotta have a guy come in on short notice.
Yeah, well, that's why you need the
You gotta
contract.
nail you, whereas if you have a service contract, your company say, hey, that belt's gonna break.
So how
if
do
you're
we go
if you're
about
looking
to do
for us
that?
to put a service contract on these,
I'm not
Uh,
looking for anything.
you know, I mean, it's hard to say, we can do it and have anybody, apply for it.
Get the price and see what his number is, and then we'll look at our procurement agreement, if it's, his price is high, then we gotta bid it.
Well, we gotta bid it. You mean look at what he has?
Yeah,
Well, I'm saying, Mary's saying we gotta bid it
No,
to
I didn't.
anybody,
No, I didn't. I said you have a procurement policy you have to follow. I
right?
don't
So,
have any idea what the price is gonna be.
right, so if it's not over 20 grand, we're all right.
No. Your policy has different amounts in it.
Well, 20 grand means the board has to vote on it.
I don't remember what your policy says, you know, different, so 5 to 15 was something, 15 to 20 was something. You just have to make sure you're following whatever is in that policy.
All right, so I'll have him submit one, we should have it the next 2 weeks.
I would suggest that you get a price per visit.
Hmm.
You want to do.
Well, that's the way, that's the way I said it. It
For
said it,
6 months.
he guarantee, you know, we have to have guarantee that he'll come in just before the winter starts to check all the furnaces. And then just before the summer starts, check all that, and in between, it's an on-call service charge. That sound good to you?
I mean, the board has to approve a contract either way.
All right, let's work on that.
Okay, I'll help you with that.
All right. Okay, now we're back to, this is the big one, garbage. Oh, but before I get that, we've been having a lot of trouble with Joe Minimore and our garbage guys. It's an ongoing battle. A business can put out 6 30-gallon cans of garbage. Those cans are small, and most of the time they have another 5 bags on top of it. And the animals get to it. So they went out and bought these 90-gallon things to fit all their garbage, but now it's too heavy for our garbage guys and they refuse to pick it up and do it. So I'm trying to solve this problem until we get that dumpster thing, like Dane has, that he has his own place. So I'd like to have, the question was, can he bring it to the transfer station without paying for it? Now so you don't understand, yeah, that sounds bad, but we pick the garbage up at Joe's Mini Mart or any business, it costs us $68 a ton for us. If they take the container out of the transfer station, it's $68 a ton. So for him to bring, I mean, he doesn't bring tons, I'm just using a big number, but he brings 100 pounds a week there, or we pick up 100 pounds. It really is the same thing, but it will save on our guys picking it up, putting it in our truck. Gives us more room to put more garbage in when we go to the landfill. So I'm just asking, can they do that? And I'll monitor. We did it years ago, about 10 years ago. It worked really well until the campground over here started throwing toilets in there and mattresses and stuff like that. That's not what we're looking for. Strictly waste, food waste.
So you pay the rate per pound?
What's that? No, we did that. They didn't pay the rate per pound and it worked really well until they got greedy,
Start dumping.
started dumping other stuff. So we took away from everything.
So what you're proposing is to let him bring his stuff to the transfer station for.
Right. Just
No charge.
throw it in there and dump it in, instead of our guys putting it in our dump truck. Our garbage truck.
Are we gonna allow this for all our businesses?
Well, that's what the question was, when, I'm not trying to spread this around, but if I get another one, I might have to do it, but this is hopefully only until we get this. That everybody had all these people that have a lot of garbage will have to have their own little dumpster there. And Mary worked on something like that, we needed a date, and I think I'd like to do that by September 1st. They all have to have it. Then they have the option of having it or taking it to the transfer station themselves or paying the 8 cents a pound. Or whatever it is at that time.
How do we avoid the abuse?
Well, the guy up there now is really good. It'd be his responsibility to keep an eye.
Why don't you decide what you're doing with garbage in general? It might have a problem.
Yeah, but that problem won't be solved in the next month or two. I'm just trying to solve a problem we got now that's a pain in the neck until that time comes. If it can't be done, just tell me you don't wanna do it, fine. That's all I want.
I think we're in agreement that we're gonna go ahead and send out that letter saying businesses got to do their own thing after. I think
And Mary put a nice, that was a
Did
good.
that already go out?
No, not yet, we have to prove it.
No, we
I
already
thought we
approved
did
it.
approve that.
We did. Yeah,
Okay,
You just needed to add the date, which she did.
all right, so we could send that out.
Yeah,
uh,
and then in the
This week.
meantime, because we do have a new policy, I would think that it would be feasible for us to pay for them to bring the garbage or bring the garbage without charge.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying
Since
to
it
do,
will
because
save
by the
on our-
time this goes
It'll
out,
serve- save
and
on
they,
our guys.
and they get these garbage companies coming and give them a price and all that, it could be a month, could be 2 months.
Right, until September 1st or.
September 1st, they all have to do it anyway.
Right.
But this solves a problem for the next month,
Right.
5 weeks, you know? Because it's a big battle every Monday.
We should define a little bit for Adam or Rick or whoever, what to watch for.
What do you mean at the transfer station?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gotta come in clear bags and,
All quantity wise, I think.
well, quantity wise is the same thing, one way or the other.
Yeah, but the old system, although it's bad, the old system says you can have X number of containers if you're a resident, Y for this, and Z for that. It's the Z we're kind of talking about.
Well, he's not gonna produce any more garbage than he's producing
Right.
now.
Right.
Yeah, but isn't he?
And I think we rarely want to nitpick at it.
Isn't he producing more than we're supposed to pick up?
No, he's producing just enough to fill 3 90-gallon cans. That's 6 barrels. But it's one big one instead of 6 little.
Okay, so right now, he's producing on the amount of garbage that we would normally pick up anyway.
Right,
Okay,
but what he did, went out and buy 3 of those 60-gallon
Yeah.
things, they're about this high.
Yeah.
And it's the worst thing
when I
for the
go here, I
guy.
bought one, still, they got one of those nice little belts.
Yeah, well, the rule is gotta be in 30 gallons, so 6 little ones, he's got 3 big ones.
Yes. I just assumed he was producing more than.
Oh, during the summer, he produces more than he does in the winter, yes, but not,
Just like everyone else.
yeah.
So you're not gonna like my question, but.
Go ahead.
if the requirement is 6 35-gallon
6,
containers, why are we not comply with it when everyone else in the town has to?
Because no one else in the town is.
He was,
So,
because he doesn't have a place to put.
guys, I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents in here. It's the business owner's responsibility to comply with the laws that we have on the books. I own the same exact type of business. I got a dumpster 3 years ago. It's not hard to do. If you're producing too much garbage, if it's a pain for people, it's a cost of doing business, in my opinion. I don't think we've made a lot of effort over the last couple months to try to clarify things and reduce certain treatments for certain people for whatever the reason may be. If it's not in compliance with the laws that we have on the books, then I don't think we should veer away from that now.
Andy, feel the same way? Or should you just vote on it and get it over with, one way or the other, up or down? It doesn't make any difference to me. I have to have an answer.
Well, I mean, Dane does have a good point. But we did send out letters to all our businesses and we're explaining again to them what we are expecting.
No, we didn't do that yet. That's coming. I agree with that 100%.
When is that coming? When is that going?
Your letter says by September 9th.
Mm.
And we were talking yesterday when we were doing the agenda, and I thought that something should be added about an option to take it to the transfer station and pay the
But they paid.
applicable rate.
Right.
So that's not going up again, right?
It's going out whenever you guys are ready for it to go out, because you're saying that the businesses have to comply with the dumpster by September 9th. But then I was gonna talk to Mary about adding that option, or,
I think we need to add that because we can do that
They can do that anyway.
anyways.
okay,
It just, I mean, I know where Dane's coming from. We really shouldn't be saying, it's okay for you, but not for you, picking and choosing. I don't like that. I don't like the picking and choosing. We have a law, follow the law. That's the way it's gotta be. But now we're changing that law a little bit, because we're sending out the new letter. And the deadline's gonna be September 8th,
9th.
September 9th,
Everybody has,
and it's gonna be period at a quote. On
but
September 9th.
it's gonna be an option. There's a lot of, what we're considering business, a smaller business that doesn't need it. But they'll have to take their garbage to the transfer station because we're not gonna pick it up.
Right.
Town. Town will pick up 6 barrels of 30 to 34, whatever that,
35.
35,
Yeah.
whatever it is, but any more than that, we won't pick up.
Yeah.
They have to take their own to the transfer station and pay whatever our running rate is.
Okay, so I'm thinking instead of saying, okay, Joe's Media Market, it's okay for you. Now, you can take it and we won't pay you, or we won't charge you. But then come September, we're going to. I think we should stick to the guns and get the letter out as quickly as possible. This is how it is. You have until September to figure it out for yourself. Either get new cans, get your dumpster, or get it to the transfer station yourself at your cost. That's my 2 cents. That's a full nickel worth. That's my nickel.
Well, you want to have a, pass, with the resolution that is, and we'll vote on it. Well, can we
What's,
move on,
what's the resolution?
that they have to abide by our rules today.
That's not, they have to abide by.
Without.
And that's not a resolution, that's.
Yeah.
They're not gonna get picked up.
To change it.
Right.
All right, so they just have to abide by our, all right, that's what I'll tell them. Let's let it go with that.
Do you want to talk any more about garbage?
Well, we should start thinking about what we said before, is that maybe we should stop all garbage by the end of the year.
Yeah, I guys feel about that.
What's the number that, do we have a cost for garbage? Like, how much does it cost us?
I've been estimating for a few years at about $250 per. The problem is our regulations, and I didn't make them. It's been like this for 30 years, is parcel.
250 per person.
It's $250 per parcel in their taxes.
Years old now.
Yeah. And like you get the guy across the street, he's a single guy in a trailer. You get this motel over here, puts out 13 cans. He puts out 1. He's paying $250 and so are they. That's the thing that bugs me,
Yeah.
and why we gotta change it. So you can't change it to keep track of who's paying what. You either gotta stop it. And that's the only way you can do it. Because even
But
if
that's
you-
what we're doing on September 9th, right?
Well,
Because
true,
the-
no, we're doing more on September night than business like him, business.
Yeah,
But everyday people, you got the same thing. The garbage is unbelievable lately, especially these Airbnbs on Mondays, it's horrible. You get 8-10 barrels of garbage there. And
But my question was, like, in the budget, when you guys are figuring out the budget, what are you saying it's gonna cost the town?
not the town, it costs each parcel $250.
Yes, but for us to run the garbage program and get rid of the garbage
Right.
and all that.
Yeah.
Some labor, some gas, the truck.
Do you have a number for that?
That's the price, $250 per parcel.
Per parcel.
Per parcel. In terms of the actual number, there's 2 or 3 things
Yeah, it's all
that are
separate,
added in.
labor, truck expenses.
That aren't included in that 250? They are.
Yeah. Here's what happened a couple years ago, we looked much more seriously at privatizing, and we also looked at actual costs. We got reports from Rick. We added in the cost of the credit charges, so much, it seems like it came out on 250 per person.
700,
250 per 250
Roughly.
per parcel.
and there's 1,400 and something.
And
parcels.
we had, I wanna say like 27, we had almost 2,800 bills. Which are parcels, whether they're vacant land or not. Comes out to 700,000.
So the town's gonna save $700,000 roughly by getting rid of the garbage program.
Yes and, yeah,
I'm not sure about the transfer station.
yeah, yes and no, because a lot of it's out of the transfer station
I
too.
know we thought through that one.
Oh,
coming up
yeah.
with those numbers.
Yeah, it's about 400 to 500,000.
I was gonna say, you brought up 400 to 500.
Yeah, it's about 400 to 500,000. Now, transfer station gets its own stuff there and people pay for it, so that doesn't come out of that,
Comes off.
you know.
Basic.
It's roughly about 400 to 500,000 we got figured in the budget, pick up garbage. And recycle.
So if we put out the RFP and what is, I guess my question is, what is the drawback of putting out the RFP? Seeing how much that's gonna cost, if it's gonna cost more or cost less, instead of just
RFP for what?
for garbage,
You know, privatized?
yeah.
Well,
So if we put that out and it's the same costs that we're paying now?
Well, there's about three different ways you can look at it, like I've called Corinth. I've called some of these other towns. Some of them are only about $35 per month per parcel. But also, they include if you're two people, it's 35. If you got four people, they might make it 45. You know, what I mean, you can't, that's how the garbage companies do it. So in the long run, even if you stay at the lowest end, at say $40 per parcel people, you multiply that out, it's almost $500 a year compared to 250 that we charge. It's a crazy system, but you know, everybody's doing it. You go through Luzerne, they have 4 or 5 different companies picking up garbage in their town. Because these garbage people will come in and solicit the business. And
The town's paying for that? or
no,
the
no,
individual?
we're not paying, the individual pays for that. We
Well, I
pay-
think what, I won't words you, Dave, but I think what Dan is saying is maybe we should also take a look at the town paying to have a private contract. In
well,
other words, go ahead. And
that's
send
how
out-
we started it, but we have to put it out with a whole RFP and let somebody bid on.
Right, the
Yeah.
RFP is basically
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
Now, typical RFP, which this one is in some ways, you know, we can reject all bids. We don't have to do it. I think it would be nice to have a number. Our decision would be much more informed if we know, I'm just making this up, that, you know, Jim's waste company is gonna charge the town $400,000 to pick up all those parcels listed in that RFP. And then if we go through our numbers and double check our numbers, how much we're paying now, doing it ourselves.
but I'd rather, I think personally, we better stop doing it ourselves, because number one, we have trouble getting CDL drivers. Number two, we get trouble people being,
Yeah, it's a pain.
they're abused because they call garbage people.
So I agree with you wholeheartedly that we should stop doing it ourselves. I just, I want to know how much it's going to cost the taxpayer additionally.
It costs them more money, there's no doubt about it.
So what I'm trying to get at though is there a way for us to have it in our budget to lessen the burden on the taxpayer? Like still have somewhat of a garbage
Like,
budget to
everybody-
offset that
Everything
cost?
coming out.
But you don't solve the
Example.
problem of people putting 6 cans out, 3 cans out, you know.
No, because they still have to get their own, but can we put money to, like, what are we gonna spend $500,000 on that we're gonna save? It's just gonna cost taxpayers more money, then we're gonna have $500,000. Can that $500,000 go towards, like, are we gonna reduce taxes somewhere for the taxpayer?
The idea is. we
Okay.
Take away from that 400 some we pay, that'll be no money on the budget, it could go keeping the budget down. You know, taking it out, it makes the budget down, so the people save there. You know,
That's my only concern. I don't want it to go somewhere else. I want it to go towards saving the taxpayer money if they're gonna get an additional burden, having to get their
no,
own
not-
garbage.
they're gonna get a burden out of it, but not through their taxes, through their own expenses.
Okay, so if we
I
call
mean, look
in,
at all the towns that have it, go to Corinth, there's 4 or 5 different garbage companies.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just,
if we have someone come in and pick up the garbage, okay, we do the bidding out, and they bid for our town. When they pick up the garbage, where do they bring that garbage? Do they bring it to our transfer station?
No, they go to the landfill, or wherever they have it. Some of them have their own, you know, disposable place.
Okay, so that's gonna eliminate a lot more cost for our transfer station, right?
That was part of the 250.
Yeah.
That's
so
part
it
of
could be-
Actually disposal.
Yeah. Could be, could save, I mean, we'll save money, we'll save at least 400,000 a year. Period, but the people might wind up, like I say, they're paying $250 a month with us, a year.
A year.
They might pay 400, 500 a year, that's what they're gonna be paying them bigger expense.
But they also have, they'll have either the choice of whoever they want pick up their garbage.
Right,
But if we make an offer and we put out a bid for everyone to have the same garbage pickup, we might get a better rate, because there's a lot more,
but we're not after the rate, it's not for us, people are gonna.
oh,
pay.
no, it's gonna be,
Fees.
it'll be on the people.
Right,
But the 250 that we're already taking from the taxes, can we lower the cost to the individual?
You can't do it because some put out 3 barrels, some people put out 8 barrels, you know, and the.
Well, they're not gonna, then, when you get a garbage deliver or pickup, they give you their own barrels,
They give you the barrels, right?
okay?
Number one.
And either they're gonna say you can have 1 barrel or 2 barrels, whatever rate that's gonna cost you, or whatever.
Right.
If you have more than that, they're not gonna pick it up.
Well, don't make you get another barrel.
They'll make you get another barrel, or you gotta take your excess to the transfer station.
Right.
If we're not gonna use the transfer station for our garbage pickup, we are gonna keep our transfer station up and running,
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
So we still need an income coming in from tax people to pay for those.
Cause they'll pay for them by the pound. We charge 8 cents a pound right now. And that basically, we don't make any money. It basically covers the transportation of that garbage going out and the garbage per ton.
Okay, but not the people working there and
Well,
their
yeah, we got,
benefits and.
yeah, we got
It's
a-
still gonna have the expense. But if we say, okay, for each individual, they're gonna have to pay X amount of dollars. If we, as a town, say, okay, we're gonna go with XYZ, and they're gonna pick up everyone's garbage, and they'll designate what area, what time, when they're gonna pick it up. And because we're giving them the 1,400 people of doing it, they might give us a better rate than they would each individual.
That would
So
be-
they have the option, do you wanna go with the pickup from the
Yeah.
town
Yeah,
and pay $30 or whatever it is a month versus going, pick your own for 45?
changing the scenario, because if you put out an RFP and say Waste Management comes in and we pick them, everybody has to pay the money that Waste Management wants to pick up.
Mhm.
Now, if you have somebody that doesn't want to go to Waste Management, the only thing they have is to go to our transfer station, pay our poundage. And that's what they have to do.
Or they can hire their own
Or they.
separate
well,
and
yeah,
have someone else
they
come and
pick-
get
That's
theirs.
right.
One little problem with that scenario is the price that we're gonna, the prices that we're gonna get. Responding to the RFP. Are given certain facts, and the facts are basically the number of. Pickups. So if you go and give folks the option to be in it or not in it, then that number is not gonna be accurate. I don't know how much that would impact price, but. It might. I think we should send out the RFP basically as written. Tune it up a little bit to or not. See what the number is,
Mhm.
because we're talking about comparing 3 or 4 numbers, we don't have. We have an
Right.
approximate number for one thing, which is what's the town. Cost to do it.
Yeah.
The rest of it, we get out of that.
Mary, if we send out the RFP, it would be effective January 1st after we select, like say hypothetically, we selected somebody, it would be. Now, if we just said we're not picking up anybody's garbage, I'm assuming we'd still wait until January 1st to let people.
Oh, yeah, we'd still pick up until January 1st, until you sign a contract with somebody to pick up on starting January 1st.
So my question is there any harm in sending out the RFP and getting more information? It's not gonna cost us time. It's not gonna,
We don't have
It's
to
already
accept
written.
anything.
and it's already written. Just to give us a better idea of what these folks are gonna charge.
I couldn't.
Right?
What's the deadline for somebody to respond?
We didn't put one in, but generally you give 30 days. You can give as short as 5.
Yeah, we'd have to do it for 30 days, because by the time they get, because they're gonna want the information, we have it, of how much tonnage have we gotten rid of over the years?
Yeah, I saw.
You know, how many stops do we have? We have all that. So they'll have a.
So
So
general
they're gonna
idea.
have all their information, they should be able to get an answer pretty quickly.
30 days
If they're
isn't a
interested.
lot of time. I don't mind waiting 30 days, just putting out the RFP, because it's a big decision
We're
for
not
the
gonna go
town.
Until January 1st, then.
So I think that's
And
what
we'll
we
have
should
a
do.
couple of meetings that we can decide, and by September, early October, we'll make the decision and sign the contract. If it goes that way. That's the way it works.
Okay, so
All-
can we,
Just hypothetical. All else is equal. All of them are exactly the same. Which way do you think we should go?
It's not gonna happen.
I know it's not, but I just want to get a feel for. how big.
Well,
of
why
an
would
issue-
we
how
not?
much- How big of an issue is it gonna be, tell our taxpayers, we're not gonna pick up the garbage.
Oh, it's gonna be an issue.
Oh, yeah, you get a lot of people calling Cindy.
It's a nice service, it really is.
Sure
Yeah.
it is.
But I think if you're going to use the money that you save to lower their taxes, I think that it would be a little smoother than we might think right now. Because people will come in and say, well, my garbage is in my taxes,
Mhm.
which right now, yes, it's true, it is. But when you take away that service, they're gonna expect their taxes to go down a little bit.
It'll probably just about offset the increase in taxes.
That's what I was just gonna say, because the tax, I mean, our budgets keep going up every year for labor, propane, oil, salaries, health insurance, we get them as taxpayers.
Mhm. Everyone, yeah, across the board.
People, in fact, the taxes for an average house, making us up, will go down, say $250. By saving on garbage, but it's gonna go up because of the other stuff.
Something
People are
else
gonna
might
get a
make it go
tax
up,
bill, and
yeah.
say, you told me my taxes were gonna go down.
Yeah,
I've got a guy that works for me, lives in Corinth, and he makes $40 a month. He
Right,
gets 2 huge
Mhm.
canisters, and you can stick anything you want in there. You could put 10 bags on top of each other. They can dump it, they will take it.
Mary, do you know of any towns that do the RFP route, or is everybody just saying fend for themselves that you have encountered?
that depends. Well, you live in Queensbury, right?
Every town
What-
that we represent, none of them do garbage pickup.
Yeah.
They're all private.
If Warrensburg don't do it anymore, they're all been phasing it out because you can't keep up with the expenses of it. With a 2% cap, you can't raise people's taxes
We only pay 25 bucks.
a month.
They gave us like a neighborhood discount.
Because the whole neighborhood did it.
Well, they only needed like 6 or something, but everyone ended up doing.
Well, it all depends what they come in.
Mhm.
I
I
think
mean, they're there to make money. They're not gonna give you a cheap price and then you get a lot more tonnage and they don't realize. They're gonna check the facts out.
I think we should send out the RFP.
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll just get more information. We don't have to make a decision tonight anyways.
I have a question. Would residents be able to opt out of this privatized pickup and elect to bring it to the transfer station themselves?
Yes.
That makes it tough because like the same with us. Some people say, well, I'll go to.
What
the
scenario are you talking about?
Let's say someone doesn't want to pay additional money for a privatized pickup.
Right.
Town pickup's no longer included, so, I generate 1 bag a week and I'll just bring it to the transfer station and pay the rate there.
That you can do.
Okay,
yes.
all right, great.
Or,
That's
or
nice
you can
flexibility,
hire company XYZ to come to your house and pick it.
right?
Yeah. They
Okay.
can opt anything. The RFP might come out, we might get 3 different bids, 4 different bids. And you can put it out to people, pick the one you want,
Excellent.
which most of them do. There's not like I say, you go through Corinth, you have 4 different, Twin Bridges, Cialis, the different houses have because their price was different than somebody else. That's the way they did it. But it's just a situation, we have to stop picking up garbage. We cannot enforce and get the employees, we cannot keep up with the cost of trucks and especially the CDL drivers. We got one driving a garbage truck. And if he decides to retire, we can't, the sign's been out here for 6 months, we can't get a CDL. We'll be picking them up. We do pick it up and pick up stuff.
Yeah, I was
right
gonna
now,
say.
Because we can't get enough people on the trucks.
Remember the fellow, the interview, I think his first name was Jamie, it's not related to the Missouri.
Yeah.
He's Missouri. He took another job, and he really wanted to come to work for us, and he's got a CDL list.
Mhm.
Say, we all like,
Yeah,
plus he has a ton of other skills.
So what else do we need to do for the RFQs to get them out?
Do you wanna review it?
I did. I have a boring life.
Has it changed since the last time?
Well,
we
you,
had it?
you got a copy.
I
right?
gave it to you.
That's still the same.
I haven't changed any.
I had 2. stupid little issues.
Of course you do, Jim.
Before we, I'm sorry, can I change the tape real quick?
Well, I had three, but I crossed out one because the answer came up later in the RFP.
You and I can.
What? We really need audited financials. They're a lot more expensive. I mean, that would cost, if they don't already get them, probably the bigger companies would already be getting audited ones. And then the other thing, exclusions are appliances excluded, like washers, dryers. Is that in there?
Oh, that's out. They don't.
Was it in the RFP? There's a specific page of exclusions. It's not on that page.
It's not.
No. It says something like machines or something like that. Page 31 and 30.
No, they'll come out with their own thing. I don't think they'll take a washer.
Well, I just think it should be in there. That's all. I agree. Transfer stations still face them, so. That was all
I think it's,
Large items of machinery and
Mhm.
equipment.
yeah.
I guess that's what I was thinking.
Include motor.
TV monitors and other electronics.
Okay. Well, is there any, a couple of those that you might want to take out for next week? Why don't we just, everybody take it, read it and give it to Mary? You can have a new copy of certain pages, page 7, page 2.
Do you want me to put,
I'm done reviewing it, but I think it should say something like appliances such as refrigerators, dishwashers, stoves
I'll say
are
including.
in the excluded page.
Household appliances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm already.
Well, because they might, this, when they give you a report, they might put that, but they're not gonna do that. Too, so, but it's better to have something.
And they might allow it in theirs.
I really doubt it. because
Yeah, me too, but
they figure tonnage of garbage is what those trucks
Yeah.
hold.
One guy. Yeah,
mhm.
Jim, do you have the page of the audited financials?
page 12H.
You guys are okay with that, taking that out?
Taking what else?
Audited financial statements?
You said
Three
page
years.
12H.
Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, an audited financial statements, what would you pay an accountant to do? They actually send certified letters to all your accounts receivable and accounts payable people to make sure that what you're saying is the truth. An unaudited statement, the information comes with some big difference in cost, typically 2 or 3 times. These big companies, they may be doing it already, so I could go either way. I know,
Do you
20
think it's
years I was in business, I never once had to do with financials. I did financial statements every 6 months, but they weren't audited.
Well, it's fine, it's certified. It's not audited. It's a certified financial statement.
Those 3 years of audited financial statements.
12H is what I wrote down.
Leave it in or take it out?
I'll go.
Do you want me to just put certified?
I turn a businessman, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, do you think we're not gonna get as many bids if we leave it in?
That's right.
Well, I'm thinking if they don't want to bid on it because of that, there might be a reason why. I would think, leave it in.
I would say leave that part in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's my,
leave it in.
Got it? Oh, proud of myself.
I'll tell you the last. They may bid and say in the bid, we don't have a lot of safety.
Why would you audit a
Yeah.
company that's, I don't, still I'm stuck with that. Why would you audit a company that's gonna do business with you?
They're providing you.
I don't think they've done.
There.
Yeah, but why? Why do we need that?
Then we just have to make a decision.
yeah, then we can take it into consideration from
Yeah,
there.
we could do our
they're gonna
That's
bid on
such a
picking up
general
garbage
thing,
and they wanna
that's all
spend
I'm saying.
$100 a pickup, why do we need financial statements from them?
Don't, so the board, you don't.
I'm
Why do they don't? Why do you
totally
don't?
getting different. I'm getting tired of government.
4 years. Fine,
So we'll finalize it and we'll get the process moving.
You've already made it.
I did have one of the thoughts, which I think it should be about 85% shorter than it is.
I cut it down from 80 pages.
Okay.
All right, so we got that settled.
Oh, wait, I need someone at some point to go through exhibit B though and tell me if it's Drive Street Road. So I can just do that and send it to me tomorrow.
What,
Or
say that again?
I just didn't know some of the, like beach, there's a beach drive and road in Lake Luzerne, so I didn't know which.
Faber Street,
Beach Drive is up. It's a dirt road.
street.
Where'd you get this stuff?
Well, I got the street, just the street names from Dane, but then I looked up whether it was street road.
Yeah.
I got Beach Drive right coming down my hill.
Okay.
That's
Beach Drive.
Beach Drive.
And
And
there
there's
were
only
two
3
Butler
people on it.
roads.
There's 3 people on it, and that has 3.
What did you say, Mary?
There were 2 Butler roads, one had 6 and one had 7.
I don't know where Butler is.
Butler is Sylvan, up around Sylvan and around,
Yeah.
it's the backside of Sylvan.
All right, I'll,
You know, there's quite a few private roads. Do we have, did that list consist of the private roads we have it now?
just took the list that Dan had compiled and put it in.
Dane, does that list consist of all the private roads we have?
I don't think it does, no. Because that's the private roads are essentially driveways. They're gonna have to bring it out to a town road to get picked up.
RFP has a per pickup rate in it, right?
Correct.
I have to move a little bit if we do hire this.
Which it says in there that
Yeah.
it might change based on, yeah.
We beat it to death.
Yeah, we did. All right, let's put it out and see what happens. I mean, that's, you can either get 10 or you can get none.
So that'll be on the agenda for next time to pass a resolution.
It's already
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, okay.
I was just gonna put it out, put it out. I was gonna work it already to do that.
So we have a few things going out, right? Okay.
So are there any other resolutions needed for July 2nd?
That's what it says. Any resolutions that we need to July 7th.
Yeah.
You're gonna have already paid the bill of the abstract.
The minutes, then provide octax to Lake Association, possible resolution. And a possible resolution to enter into an agreement with Chuck's Heating. Any other?
I don't know. I might, but I don't know.
Okay.
I'm waiting to hear back from people
Okay.
What?
on the proposal for Reservoir Road and the trails.
I might be asking the board for something about the short-term rental violation notices. I'll be in contact with Mary. There's a couple of short-term rentals that aren't getting back to me, and we might want to add them to the list of possibly pursuing litigation against them. I know there's one that we've already discussed, but there's a couple that still aren't getting back to me. So I'll be in touch with Mary and have something going by next board meeting.
Anybody else?
Yeah, there was a letter, I think everyone received an email from Tracy.
Yeah, I got that right. That's my next thing on
Okay.
there.
I'll just wait.
All right, we got a letter from Tracy. You all got it. She got a request from Hadley needing a couple of lifeguards
Oh,
that have to do something at Bowling Woods.
No, 1,000 acres.
1,008, yeah, 1,008, doing something. And she just wants it all right with us to let it happen.
She wants our lifeguards to go
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
What they're having is they have a field trip. Gene Seastick had phoned me. And they are having 2 days of field trips, or I think it was 4 days of field trips going up to Thousand Acres. And half the kids will go on horseback, right, and then the other half will go swimming. But they do not supply a lifeguard. So she asked me, can we do a lifeguard? And I says, well, you need to talk to whoever's in charge of the lifeguards and see what they have or who they have. That's not something that we can do.
4 dates.
So that would be, that was
Some-
Tracy.
So
I don't know where it went from there. She's she.
She's
pretty much-
requesting us to make the decision.
I have no problem with it. I just don't, what's the liability with something like that?
First thing popping.
Can we move our town employees to another town to lifeguard for?
Don't know.
I don't see why not. I mean, they're still gonna be under your policy, they're still gonna be covered by all of your insurance, your.
They are going up by school bus. If that's back and forth.
I mean, I don't see any increased liability.
And I don't have any problem with it at all.
So
And that'll put the lifeguards that are not working that day, they have the option of working that day and still on the budget.
Do you know when that is?
She did have the dates.
Dates for
They're in the email. I don't have that printed
July
out.
19, 24, 31, August 7th.
you got that, I'm looking for mine, I had it, here. I don't know.
Okay,
I used to run the town beach for Warrensburg. I'm really worried about this liability thing. Heaven forbid if a kid drowns at the pool someplace other than our own town beach.
What was that difference other than them drowning on?
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm worried.
See a difference?
Well, I believe now it is a field trip. And any field trips, she does have a big waiver that the parents are signing. I mean, no one wants to say, my kid, okay, I'm not allowing my kid to drown. It's not, that cut and dry, but
It's a pool. It's
It's
a
a-
lifeguard.
right.
Okay,
I mean, in terms of litigation, you're also going to probably be covered by the venue's insurance as well. I mean, so technically you're decreasing your liability, so you can get damages from them as well.
so then you think we should
Is
try
that
to get,
helpful thinking? I like.
yeah. Is that something we should get documentation on in your?
No, it'll just, by proxy of being there, it'll be.
All right, so we're all right, I mean, as long as you're all right with it,
and we need
I
a
think we all,
resolution to do it.
right?
All right.
Okay. So we'll call and say it's all right, but.
Oh, we don't,
They're town employees, right?
they are.
Yeah. So they're just gonna get called in for a day of work.
Okay, so no resolutions needed for that.
No, I don't think so. All right, just a couple of other little stupid things here. New signs. New signs. Now, everybody approved what I put on this sign, because I got the paperwork inside that I wrote out that you all looked at.
For the record, I never responded to that. I never responded to that.
Me either.
Well, that's the two things that, and one of this is this, so this is the new sign with the new wording. And, and I'm gonna ask you. 3 years of myself. Either we drop this program right now, give the people that, we have 17 already that signed up, give them their money back, tell everybody to go there free, cause I'm sick of it. I don't like to be trashed on YouTube from stupid people that don't know what they're reading. And I don't like the idea that board members answer, it looks like you're agreeing with them. All right, and I'm unhappy with that.
Mhm.
So I'm either asking you right now to tell me. Either we're gonna move ahead with this program,
Can you read the
stick
new sign?
together, right here, read it. There's only 2 words, it's the same words, but it's in a different position. There's nothing in that first one that says the lake, because we got wrapped on saying that we charge you $25 to go to the lake. I'm tired of getting
You got
wrecked.
complaints, so there's the sign that went up, you got complaints, people saying they thought they had to pay $25 to use the.
Oh, I read the whole thing.
Yeah.
They were very passionate.
I didn't, I don't do social.
But you read on there where it says anything about lake.
I mean, it all depends on where you see the sign. If you see the sign right on the beach, yeah, you're gonna think, oh, they're charging us to go swimming. You see this on a rack, on a storage rack for kayaks, you're gonna assume
That's
that
what,
this
that's
is
what it
taking
was.
the assumption out of
I
it.
got 6 calls Friday going down to New Jersey to a wake complaining about $25 to get in the lake.
New one,
Oh, I get it.
storage rack.
Yeah, I get it.
So you're happy with storage rack? Or we end the program right now and let them, anybody put anything they want there. I don't care. And the other problem, I have to speak to Mr. Hanlon because he wants to take some of the money and give it to the school, which we got, the money idea was what we paid to do those things. But the other problem came up. I got in trouble with the school because when he offered the money, some of the board members thought in our conversation with getting permission to do this being paid wasn't brought up in the conversation. We were supposed to not pay them for nothing. And the superintendent displayed that he's, people think he's getting the money, no long and short of it. So he's upset. So I mean, this has been a fiasco where we try to do something good.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So I read everybody's comments. I was very, I'm sorry, I know it was ragging on you, but I was entertained by the whole thing because I
Yeah,
thought it
I'm
was
glad
so.
you're entertained.
I know, I'm sorry.
If my board members would have spoke up and said,
It was-
we all approve this, this is the right way to do it.
Listen, I wasn't gonna take it to Facebook.
Huh?
You just said you didn't like people talking on Facebook. I wasn't gonna take it to Facebook, but I read it. I read it because I knew we'd talk about it. So one of the issues that people had was that it has you as a direct contact on Facebook. Should that say contact the clown clerk's office?
No,
They
it's
didn't
not
wanna
a
do
clerk
it.
Fee. It is not a clerk fee.
So what is it?
It's a program fee, basically,
Where did
But
they
the-
get the permit from?
Yeah,
from his office.
From your office. You're submitting the fee, or the permit.
Yeah,
And
I
then
had
the
them-
fee
I had
is-
them, and they're filling up all the paperwork and giving us the money. We take track of the money on the booklets they keep.
They get a receipt, it will
They
go
get a
into the
receipt
general
and they
fund.
sign the form.
okay.
Sticker.
Well, that's, I just
I
wanna,
didn't want, because all of a sudden, and nothing against Cindy or Lori, they had too much work to worry about all these people coming in and same with Colleen. And it's my idea, so I said, I'll let them come to me. They text me and I call them and I say, I'll be there between 1 and 3. And they come in and we take care of it. I didn't want buildings and grounds and do it.
Is that your cell number?
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also not a clerk fee.
I don't even feel bad for you, Gene. You're asking for it.
You could put town supervisor and put your office number.
That's my cell.
I wanted to explain a little bit more about the
Yeah.
school thing. What Burgess is worried about is that he will be accused of squeezing the town.
Right. And he was unhappy with that. I'm gonna talk to Tim about it. Why did he have to go there without even talking to us? It's just, all right, so we as a board now decided this sign is good and go ahead and collect the money. I want you to tell me, I mean.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm just messing with you, Gene. Yes.
Give the money back and let them all put it there for.
No, I think it's a great idea. It's a great program. The racks look great. Everything looks great. And I too agreed with you that it seemed common sense to me that it was there in the right spot, right next to the racks and everything, but sometimes you got to spell it out. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I brought up your name because I wanted clarification on that.
All on the same board, or on the same page. Same page, we know what we're talking.
Yeah.
No, the point I'm trying to make was, I gave you guys all what I was writing to prove, and you all said, yeah, it looks good. I write it, and then everybody says, oh, we're getting paid for the lake, but nobody said, hey, the board approved. I'm sorry, but it's just, that's the one thing I just
Well, I
had.
wasn't gonna go on Facebook and
No.
Yeah, I wasn't
know
doing that either.
fight. I'm not gonna do that,
I'm all right with the new sign.
but I would have brought it up
I mean,
tonight if you didn't.
I
so.
understand the people, but the people are willing to pay it. I have not, they all come in and give you
Wanna
money
pay
right
for
away.
their kayaks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it's a good program.
Good.
Because there are a lot of, elderly people that can't carry the kayak down or put it up on a car and come all the way down. We've had this problem for years. We used to leave it at the other beach and it was very good, years, no problems until few people didn't like,
Well, I think you
on the
cleared it
front of
up.
their house.
I
So-
think you cleared it up with that, the new sign. I think it's well
And
done.
the school was very good, use it, don't worry about it, just keep it clean.
Yeah.
That's it, no money, they didn't want any commission or.
No, well, there's not a lot of money there and just for the upkeep.
And
of
right
the
now, we got
grass.
almost collected half the money that we spent on this stuff, so, you know,
Yeah.
that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of
So
getting,
can you get rid of that old sign so that doesn't?
it's
accidentally get up
gone,
there?
I was on the road, I got 6 calls,
How long was it up?
I called Lori, it wasn't
3
even up a
minutes.
day.
Yeah.
I called Lori and she was busy, so I called Brian, get over there and get that goddamn song down. So,
Okay, so are we done with resolutions?
I think so, right?
Okay, I'd like to read something into the record if I may.
You can.
On June sixth, the town of Lake Luzerne received a check from the Rockwell Falls Ambulance District in the amount of $22,364.46. This is the Lake Luzerne's portion of the proceeds from the sale of the fly car. These funds will be deposited into the Lake Luzerne Ambulance Fund for future EMS expenses. Just to clear up any question on that.
I was accused of putting that money in the general fund of Lake Luzerne. I'll let you know that. And I refuse to ever talk to Scott again on that ambulance squad, because I'm tired of getting beat up when these people want to beat me up. He was one that beat me up 2.5 years ago, and now he's telling people I'm you, because what happened, he took the money and he started spending. And I talked with Mo, that money's not theirs to spend. They got a budget. That money was all put into the budget. It should come back to the town so we can give it back to them at the end of it. He wanted to spend it on all these other different things, and I stopped it. So now,
Let me give these guys some background.
yeah, go ahead. I'm frustrated already, so. go ahead.
When the board approved the new ambulance purchase, Scott's proposal had in it that they're gonna sell a fly car and that money will come back to us. Well, then they got the new ambulance, they didn't sell a fly car, and they said, well, we're gonna use it to buy one of those motorized gurneys or something. I sent Scott an email also, and I said, Scott, we have to do budgets every year. If you're gonna change that, you're not gonna give us that money back. You should have told us. He never responded. So I'm probably part of the reason that he was.
Yeah, but he's
upset
telling
with this.
people that I'm
All I
putting
want
it in
is
the Lake Luzerne
Tell us what's going
budget.
on.
Lake Luzerne, not the ambulance squad. And if you look at the check and it's stamped on the back, it says for deposit in the EMS squad account. You know, and they accuse me of taking it and giving it to the regular taxpayers account. So that's another problem. I'm not taking that common garbage anymore, as you know. I'm trying to wind down. I'm giving him more. I'm giving you guys more responsibility. And it's just a certain little hate group in this town that hates Gene Marino. I've been here 40 years. They hate me for 40 years. But I'm tired of it. So,
Well, one little update for you guys. Gene and I met with Tracy a week ago Friday,
Which Tracy?
Tracy Clover,
Okay.
to talk about 2 grants. Got a big water grant we struck out 4 times, found out 8 days before it was due, it's due in again. Basically, due June 14th. So we met about that, we told Cedarwood to change the dates and put it up as much as you can in a week. So that went in Friday.
and we got help from the county planning department. They jumped in and helped us too. So the whole new thing went in last Friday. And we'll see what happens.
Any news on the playground?
No,
No, we got a grant for the guy.
yeah, but, yeah, that's all. You
And
know,
where are we sitting on? Is that just, where are we at with that?
Well, person that's giving us the money, whoever's in charge of it, said the only thing we could do now would be to get the RFP ready. And set up the, no, I'm confusing it. I'm confusing the zone. Nothing's happening. We won't see that money until
we don't have to do anything more.
Well, we got a plan on, what we want to put there now. We had a lot of meetings,
Yeah.
and it was up to 200,000, or we can divide it and
Scale it down.
tail it down and then add to it 2 years from now or something, so we haven't gotten back to the tail it down. We have 125.
We've got 125, the estimate's 200. What do you think about begging for money at concerts?
What do you think about?
What do you think about begging for money at concerts?
No comment on it either.
You waste of time.
I think you probably get some money, but I don't know if you want to take away from the Chamber of Commerce, making some money for themselves as well, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it's
All right. Are we done there, Lori?
I'm done, yes.
And Ron, you just gave us, what'd you give us, the water?
Yeah, I don't know if we have to go into the water board or not.
Actually, we do. If you're doing anything with water, it has to.
And we have two
This-
employee situations.
This,
Talk about executive
this is
session.
cost to have a new water service in.
Mhm.
And right now I'm doing it down at the tree farm on East River Drive. I put this together, other towns are all over the place. Warrensburg's like 200 to 400, Lake George 700, Hadley's 1,700, the Village of Corinth is 2,500, I think. So this is roughly what it cost me to do this tap down there on East River Drive. Some taps are bigger than others, but this is the general 6-inch around town. We do have to bore through underneath the road with Flaherty. We're eating that cost because I felt that it's not their fault that the main's on the other side of the road. You guys might wanna think maybe we pass that cost on to the person who needs a new service. That's up to you. Right now we pay 1,200 without a meter. So I don't know if you guys wanna just leave it. I mean, we're losing $100, but, or if you want to raise it to 1,500. It's totally up to you.
You can think about it and do the resolution at the July 2nd meeting, if you want me to add that to the list.
I just feel personally that, I mean, you can't have one price for every person. You know, it's gonna depend on what they're having. Okay? I mean, if I need a new well, I'm gonna be paying big bucks to get my new well put in. And that's gonna be my water supply. I don't have your water supply here. But I'm not asking you to pay for that. I think if you're gonna build a new home or you need a new supply, that's an expense should be on the homeowner.
Especially if you got across the street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't think you should be eating any of that.
Any of it? Okay.
That's my opinion.
If you're buying a house, if you're buying a lot, gonna build a house, you think about things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I know you think about, right, National Grid, you know, how much are they gonna do, how much we're gonna have to pay? The fact that they're on the other side of the road.
I mean, some houses are on the same side of the road, they're not gonna pay that, but,
But they're already there.
so.
This
So
is
you
a new
want to
house
set
coming
2
in.
rates.
That's an
basically.
expense.
So
for the-
from now on, if I have to bore into the road, it's gonna be on the homeowners.
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So your rate should be one rate if it's
If
just a
there's
normal hookup.
Normal,
and if
yeah,
you
and
have to go
another
under
rate
the-
if there's bore.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that could even change because he might shoot it 2 or 3 times and
Exactly.
there might be an extra charge there. I can't give you a number on that.
Do,
After he does it Monday, I can give you a better general idea. So hopefully I'll have that number for you at the meeting.
But that's the same as, drilling for a well. I mean, you can get water here or,
Yeah, you could be.
380
real deep or
feet.
real shallow, so.
yeah.
Don't know if I have a right to speak up about this or not, but I'm just asking a question. Could you bill each hookup individually and not have a set rate? This is what, after you've got it hooked up, this is what it costs? Or do you have to give them a price up front?
They usually pay upfront
Yeah,
for hookup.
and I just feel a base pay would cover everything.
I just wondered.
But
I don't know how it works.
You usually have to pay.
Except for a bore underneath the roof.
Mhm.
Some people
Okay.
need it, some people.
I
don't.
just wondered how it works.
Do they have an option to get their own well?
Yeah, anybody's got
Okay.
that option. But if they're in the water district, they still gotta pay the base, right?
Not unless they're hooked to the water system.
Only,
Okay,
yeah, they have to be hooked up.
they gotta be hooked up, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have an option to do well, yeah,
So they don't like the price, they have to,
yeah.
just like.
Which-
you don't like
Some
the
of
price,
them on
they
the
just-
size of their lots might not have an option to have a well though, because it's written in the septic ordinance that if you have a lot that's less than 20,000 square feet, you can't develop it unless you have town water.
So it's up to you guys, if you wanna raise it to 1,500.
I think do two rates.
Yeah,
I think do two rates.
I think it'll be a rate to how, I mean, you're gonna have a specific rate on how much everything's gonna cost. I mean, each individual thing is gonna cost everybody, right? But then for someone else, it's gonna cost them more to go across the street or whatever. If they're gonna have 3 bathrooms versus someone that has a 1 bathroom, 1 bedroom. They
Yeah, I
can't.
mean, if there's a house that needs a more supply, they pay the difference of the bigger pipe,
Right, okay.
you know.
So it's gonna be per house, the price will be.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have a ballpark, right?
I
On
think
price.
You two are saying. the
If,
same thing.
Yeah.
if
No.
what, if I have to just give a service or bore through the road?
Or to get a service, you're gonna have a price. If you need to bore through the road, it's gonna be an additional price.
An additional, yes.
So everybody that's.
Every house that I do, I could probably warn them if it's gonna be an extra price because of the board. Town roads, there's some roads that I don't mind cutting and then blacktopping back in, but we're on East River Drive, that's a county road.
Yeah,
They frown on it if I cut the road, so that's why I got a bore.
Are these costs for like pretty fixed for or is this just the one that you're working on right now?
This is right now, these are today's prices on these products. The tap and sleeve, it goes around the pipe, the cork that goes into that sleeve. And then you got your copper, then you got another valve for a curb stop.
And
Then
that's
you
a
gotta
typical hookup.
Yeah, this is the typical hookup right here. You know, if there's anything out of the ordinary, if they want a bigger service or anything, I'll charge them more for that product, because it costs me more.
right. So it's per house. or
Yes,
Per resident.
How much does it cost more to bore?
I haven't done it in a few years. So once I do it after Monday, he'll send me an invoice and then I can give you a correct amount. It's been a while since I've done it, so.
So we can put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, we done with that one? Up here at the top of the hill, the red house. Half mile. We have to separate their water because they're coming off. The park. It's owned by the same guy, but it's a separate parcel. I'm gonna tap. And put a valve. Do you want me to run down the road and hook it up, or do you want me to we can send a letter and have them do the rest. Because if I do, I'm on private property.
But it was set up like that when meters went in years ago, right?
What's that?
It was set up the way it is now, when it was put in.
Way back,
Way
when
back
meters
when.
were put in, it was like that. But his water comes down through a meter, and then it tees off, it goes into the house and it's metered again. Well, it's already being charged once, so. But if the guy ever sells, it's gonna be an issue. So just my question is, do you want me to go down the road and hook in? Or do you want me to run 10 foot, put my valve, which I normally do, and then the homeowner hooks into it? It's probably 40 yards I gotta go down.
Is there a homeowner that needs to hook into it right now? Or if he sells it,
If they sell
if they
Well,
sell it?
If you're doing it, you might as well have them being charged correctly. Because we had to do calculations already before to reimburse them for being double charged.
it. Right now,
It needs to
it's
be-
a little mess, so. But just my question is, do you want me to go and hook it up and that? Or do you want me to just go my 10 feet and then leave it up to them?
Why would you think we might wanna do that extra 40 yards?
To get,
Do we have some responsibility that I'm not sensing?
It's just been a long time in the works.
Do you have permission to do it?
Wait, the 40 yards is on private property,
It's down the dirt road.
so technically you'd be gifting town services and town
On private
equipment to a private individual, so you can't do that.
Okay, so my normal thing would be tap, come off 10 feet, put our valve, and then the homeowner would come to there. So if I put the tap in and everything in the valve, they can't say that we haven't done our part, so. So if we could get a certified letter, send it to them, tell them that the valve for that parcel is gonna be installed and it's there, and they have to hook it up. That would be great.
You want me to write that letter?
I would appreciate
How
that.
about if you draft something, I'll look at it and I can put my name on it if you want.
I will, I'll also take pictures
Okay,
and that way you get a better idea.
I love it.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, that's my second thing, and my third thing is Howe Road. That was a full depth reclamation just in Blacktop. I have the bill right here, $206,000. This is for 1 mile. That is a road that's been redone. That road should be great for 10 years plus, just like Schofield Road. It's good. I'm just telling you that to get it in your mind. What I get to do for 1 mile. To redo a road. All right, I only get like. I'm not even 100% sure what I get from chips, but it's like 300 something thousand. So. The cost is going through the roof. I got Ralph Road a portion that I want to skim coat and then overlay. Because there's money's not there to rebuild it. I got a base, so we'll build from the base. So I just wanted to give you a visual on how much blacktop costs. So. for
Did a
me
nice
to
job over
rebuild
there.
Roads, very expensive. That's why I'm asking Gene for money. So, but what he's giving me is gonna help.
You got another 100,000 in your budget right now for.
Budget season's coming up.
We put another 100,000 in for roads in your budget right now. On top of what.
Like I said, it's gonna help, but it's gonna do about a half a mile. So, just,
See, these are things we were talking about budget, you know?
Yeah.
You wanna cut trees down and get 100 grand, go to road, you know, it's just tough decisions.
yeah, so.
You can
That's
get rid
all.
of garbage and that money that you're gonna save will go to roads.
Right.
So it's an unwin-win situation.
Never ending.
You know, we just don't get enough. I mean, we're not Bolton Landing who gets
Yeah,
$6 million
right.
in sales tax revenue. We get 1.1 million. You know, so you can't compete with them in buying trucks and paying payroll. It's the old story. Something's gotta give. We try to give the people all they want, but it's getting very expensive.
No, she got.
All right, Ron, that's it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey,
Is that all? We have to go to an executive session.
Okay, so we need a
Um,
motion to move
a
to
motion.
executive.
I'll make a motion to go.
Is it for employment
Employment,
purposes and
right,
contract?
right, yeah. Mostly employee situations.
Employee purpose and.
Contracting with a specific company, I think, right? Know what it was earlier?
Mhm.
Yes, yes, it was.
Is that the Lake Association?
Oh, the Lakers are.
One of these things we said we were gonna talk about in executive session, was it the chamber?
Chamber.
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 I don't
Yeah.
know. Okay, maybe the town board action.
Did somebody make a motion, Lori?
Annie made the motion.
Second.
Dane seconded it.
I mean.
All in favor? Okay.
All right.
We're gonna resume after?
Shut off that. It's finished. We won't have any business after we come out of executive session.
You won't?
Nope.
Right.
So we don't need that.